Jayson, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing good. I'm good. This time of year is the best time of year. We got Phillies in the postseason. The Mets are going home, and we're heading to Keeneland for the fall meet. It's what it's all about.
So you legit get pleasure out of watching the Mets fall apart at the end of the season again?
I mean, doesn't everybody? I think it's funny. It's something to laugh about. But, I mean, when you play in the NL East for 10 years, and you got to listen to Mets fans, for that whole time. And now in horse racing up at Saratoga, they still like to run their mouths. So it still brings me joy to laugh at them.
Yeah, Jayson, those times looking back where it's not often the Mets and the Phillies are good at the same time, right? And you experienced a little bit of that in the early portion. And those fans come down and they invade Citizens Bank Park, and they are so loud and obnoxious. And that was the beginning. We hadn't seen championship baseball in Philly since the 80s. And you guys ushered that back in. Just what a time to be alive, man. When you think about those days, because you came to Philly, you hadn't become the Jayson Werth that we know right now. What's it like when you think about those days?
Yeah, well, look, I had a good start in LA my first year, and then I got hit in the wrist my first game of spring training in 2005, and didn't play, had surgery, didn't play all of 2006, and then I come to Philly in 2007, and I'm literally barely make the team. And it took Shane Victorino and
Aaron Rowan.
I'm drawing a blank. Took two guys to get hurt on the trade deadline for me to even get a chance to play. And then, Charlie Still was a little apprehensive to get me in there, but I played so good in August of 2007 when we really started our first run, and that was kind of my when I got a chance to play and coming out, and that's when we started to run down the Mets. So there was that big series at home, the 4-game series where we swept them, and that's when, for me, that's when Philly really came back alive with baseball, and it was that team that ultimately the next year won the World Series and ran down the Mets 2 years in a row. So that's where the whole kind of rivalry started. But you're right, they would come down, they'd invade Citizens Park, they're obnoxious. You go up there and you play 12 games a year up there, and you got to listen to them run their mouths. So it was sweet to be a Philly back in those days, and I'm proud of what we accomplished. And man, we had good teams, and here we are again with my guys Trey and Bryce are playing in Philly now, and they're kind of towards the end of their careers, and I guess they're still in their primes a little bit. But this is what it's all about, man. This is Philadelphia baseball in October, Red October. Let's go.
You're listening to 97.5, The Fanatic, WPEN and WPEN HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia. Beasley Media Group station broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studios, powering possibilities. That's Jayson Werth. I'm gonna give you play on the horse racing stuff, so don't worry about that because I'm fascinated with what you're doing right now. But yeah, so I was curious about this because we talk about this a lot with your teams, and I know you left. You left after 2010, right? That was your final season. So 2007, you make the playoffs, get swept by the Rockies. 2008 World Series. 2009, go back to the World Series, lose to the Yankees, and then 2010, that was the Giants. You had a really good team that year too. That was the Giants loss in 2010. Wait, so all else being equal, and you won a World Series in 2008. What do you believe the best team was? If 2008 played 2009 or 2010 played 2007, of those teams that you played on, what was the best team that you played on?
The 9 and 10 teams, I think, were built to win more so than 7 and 8. You could probably even say the 11 team that I wasn't on was probably the best team. They had, I left, and at some point they went and got Hunter Pence to play right, but that was the team that was really stacked.
Doc, you had Doc. The starting pitching was great. You had a bunch of veterans.
The 9 team, with Cliff, and then
Pedro came on late.
Yeah, Pedro. But that was then in 10. Ruben, just was an idiot and traded away Cliff Lee for no reason. But then we got Doc. But then he got him back in 11 because he realized what a mistake he made. But the 10 team could have been better if we would have kept Cliff. I mean, he was only making $9 million that year. It was just one of the dumbest trades ever. But I don't know. Probably the 11 team was probably the best team that they had, but I wasn't on that team. For me, 9 we were playing ghosts in Yankee Stadium in 2009, and it felt like it didn't matter what we did, we weren't going to win that. But definitely gave away an opportunity in 2010. For me, I think that was the best team that we had when I was there.
What's the one individual moment for you from any of your playoff run here in Philly? If you had one.
Yeah, I think that was at 9. We went down 1-0 against the Dodgers in a must-win game, and then I hit that 3-run homer to right in the first inning against Padilla, who was almost unhittable the time we faced him before. I don't think he had as good a stuff as he did the time before, but felt like we were up against a team that probably was as good, if not better than us, with a pitcher that could beat us at home in a must-win game. If we lose that, we got to go back to L.A. It just seemed like the world was stacked against us. So that big 3-run homer in the first flipped everything on its head. I think Cole was pitching that game. He gave up 1 in the first, and it just took the air out of Citizens Bank. And then they hit that big 3-run homer to get us back alive, and I hit another homer that game, to kind of put the icing on the cake. Probably that game, or there was a 2-home-run game in the World Series against the Yankees, but we didn't win that game, so it was almost kind of a gut punch. So I think that game against the Dodgers, plus, the Dodgers now, they were the ones that I played for when I came up and with my wrist injury. They kind of just forgot about me and let me rot, and then they traded me. They released me, and that's how I got with Philadelphia. So that was kind of one of those moments that you like to have as an athlete, as a pro athlete, going back and beating up on your old team. Yeah,
you guys had your number against the Dodgers. Looks like the Phillies will be playing the Dodgers, or they could be. They won last night, so they need one more win against the Reds, and it'll be the NLDS. You mentioned Bryce and Trey. I know that you're close with them. You still talk to them on a regular basis, both the guys?
I mean, I don't know, like on a regular basis, but when you play with guys like that, you spend so much time with them. They're always a phone call away, and pulling for those guys. And I got Bryce when he was 19. Feel like I, kind of.
What was he like? What was he like when he was 19?
Yeah, an idiot. He was a total idiot. It was, the guy that he's turned into now, and that the player that he is now, the person that he is now, the teammate, the husband, the father is a really good version of Bryce. I'm really proud of him. When we got him at 19, his hair was on fire. He's letting it eat. Cover of Sports Illustrated when he was 16. So
right.
he showed up with like 10 years in the big leagues when he got there, and it was we had to help him out a little bit. But he's such a great guy and a great teammate now. And Trey, when we got Trey, he was coming over from a situation with the Padres where they traded for him. The Nats traded for Trey when he was with the Padres, and there was some loophole that they've done away with. But he went to spring training with the Padres at big league camp as like a 22-year-old kid or 21-year-old kid, but he was part of the Nationals organization. So, I mean, what a weird situation to be in. And and those guys, obviously the veteran guys didn't treat him right, and he's not even on the team. I mean, I can't imagine what a weird situation that was. So he had some stuff going on early on as well that when he got over with us in Washington, came up, we took good care of him and got him going in the right direction. And Trey's an unbelievable player. I always said he's probably the best player that I ever played with, all things considered. I think he's got the most tools. He's got the mind, the speed. He plays short, which is a demanding situation. Hits for average, hits for power. Steals bases. Just total package. I always said I think he's the best player. He's an MVP guy every year. Now you got to put it together, but the tools are in there, and the mind, and just the the instincts on the field are. Him and Bryce are, generational talents, and I was fortunate enough to play with both those guys.
Yeah, they're ball players for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it feels like the Phillies have a bunch of them. Jayson, let me ask you this, because you playoffs 2007, and then you won the World Series, and then you got back there, but like you had said before, you had really good teams that couldn't get back there. It's so hard to win. How difficult is it for Bryce to have his moments and then not be able to get over the hump in the World Series, and then kind of take a step back every year as a team to where, these guys are, like you had said, they're in their primes, but, you get in your 30s, you're not going to be playing as well as you did in your 20s. How difficult is it to have not won so far and to try to get back there now?
Well, I'll disagree with you that I think you're better in your 30s. You're better in your 30s. Your mind's better. Your body might not be better. You might not recover as good as you were when you're in 20s, but those guys are the best versions of themselves, I believe. I think as you get older, you get better. It's just can your body put up with the abuse? But look, when I went to Washington, we were pretty much the best team in baseball from the time I was there. We had the best record. We were always in the hunt. We were in the playoffs every year, and we never got out of the first round. And that's tough. Bryce was part of that. He needs this championship. He does to solidify his career. He needs to win, and win in Philly for Bryce. I mean, the implications are huge. I mean, he's looking. He'll probably get a statue either way, but I mean, a statue without a championship would probably be, wouldn't be a success for him. If I know Bryce, I mean, I think that he needs that championship. He wants that championship. He's that type of guy that, he's done nothing else in his life but want to be a world champion. So it's very important for him. I know that, he's a cool dude. He's calm in big situations. You want him up there. He's the guy that you want at the plate when the game's on the line. But don't think for one second, he doesn't know the implications and what it all means, because he's a really smart dude, and this is what he wants. And going to Philly, I think he's embraced the culture. The stuff that he's done on the marketing side has been genius with the Fanatic stuff. It would be a disappointment for all of us, I think, that if Bryce doesn't get his championship in Philadelphia, I think he deserves it.
Yeah, I agree. And horse racing, 1 second. Bryce is coming to town like no athlete ever has before, especially the guy as big as Bryce Harper. And like you talk about mastered a way to come in free agency like Bryce Harper has. And I think some people used to think, Jayson, that it wasn't authentic, the Fanatic stuff or whatever. Sometimes it's a little bit over the top. But he's as authentic a dude as you're going to find for being a huge superstar in baseball. Like you said, he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated when he was 16. So you played in this town for a long time. It's a tough place to play. He is built to play in Philadelphia. He really is.
Yeah, he's a Philadelphia dude, and he does. He has this artistic mind a little bit on him. He's always coming up with these things. Like if you look at his emblem, even from age, the stuff with the Fanatic, the shoes might be a little bit over the top. But, I mean, he's kind of a little bit of a marketing genius when it comes to that stuff, and he's been able to implement that with a high level of play. I was never a big social media guy. Now with the horse racing, we got to do it's part of life these days with the marketing and making money off the field, and Bryce was way ahead of the curve on that stuff, and I laugh at him a lot, and I still make fun of him. But he is a good dude, and he means well. And I think that he has been the perfect free agent, the perfect guy for Philadelphia for sure.
Jayson Werth fell in love with thoroughbred racing, and is the owner of Icon Racing. How did this happen? Were you a horse racing fan before, when you were playing, or how did this happen?
No, this sport found me for sure. So I played golf with some guys after I got done playing. I didn't even play golf when I played baseball. Then I got done, and I was like, all right, I'll join the country club here, play golf with some guys and down in Florida. And they own some Florida breds, and went to the track with them. I was like, this is cool. And then got in on some good fillies with a guy down there, and then kind of branched out. And the first colt that I got in on was a horse named Dornick. Great story on how when the horse was named Dornick. Dornick is a little town in Scotland. They have a golf course there, Royal Dornick, and I got this horse, and Chase Utley and I, we went and played golf in Scotland. We played a bunch of courses, and ended up playing Royal Dornick. So I get home, I call the trainer, and I said, "Hey, how's the big horse doing?" He's like, "It's good." I'm like, "Have you named him yet?" He's like, "Yeah, Larry named him last week, like Dornock or something." I'm like, "Dornock?" I'm like, "Dornick?" He's like, "I don't know, call this." So I call Larry, and I'm like, "Hey, did you name the horse?" He's like, "Yeah, I named Dornick after." I'm like, "After the golf course?" He's like, "Yeah, it's my favorite place to play, favorite town in Scotland, whatever." I'm like, "Hold on a minute, when did you name it?" And he's like, "Last Wednesday we named it." Well, last Wednesday, me and Chase were playing Royal Dornick in Scotland, and that horse goes on to run 10th in the Derby and win the Belmont in my first try. So that was kind of our entry into the sport, and the whole thing coming together like that was just incredible. So on the heels of winning the Belmont last year, I'm like, this is fun. Let's how can we, it's going to be impossible to chase the Derby dream when you're running, you're running up against, billionaires and oil sheiks and everything else. So we started Icon Racing as a way to kind of keep us in the game at the highest level, but also share the sport, which I think is so amazing. Share the sport with new people and people who don't know how to get into the sport. It's an entry into the sport, to dip your toe into the sport, if you will, of horse racing, and break down the barriers of entry. And we all pool our money together in a fund, and then we go buy horses and we compete at the highest level. It's a lot of fun. IconRacing.com. If anybody's interested, hit me up. You can come own horses, rub shoulders with me and the homies. Let's go.
And the great thing, you don't have to. You're not shoveling horse manure at 6:00 in the morning. You just own it. You let other people do that.
Yeah, you literally are. You're a horse owner, which is very prestigious. And it is the sport of kings, but we're breaking down the barriers of entry into the sport and getting new people in.
Oh, it's really cool. Again, iconracing.com, ICON racing.com. I know Jason was up at Parks Racing last year for the PA Derby. I saw you up there dressed to the nines, looking good up there. Congratulations.
That was their big day.
Yeah, I'm glad you found some passion in something post baseball. That's great.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It kind of keeps juices going. I tell people that horse racing is perfect for retired athletes of any level. When those horses leave the gate, on race day, you wake up in the morning. It's like it's like game day again. You get a chance at reliving all the emotional roller coasters of sports, where you got your pregame, you got your game day. You get dressed up, you go to the park. You got your pre-race. When they're in the paddock, you're listening to the plan. They get on the track, and it's like right before the game, and then when the gates open, it's like you're back on the field again. No matter what level you played at, it's hard to recreate that. And those horses, they're running for you. They become your family. They become your pets. It's just an incredible sport, and we want to share it with everybody.
That's awesome. IconRacing.com. Jason, thank you so much, man. Great stuff. Good to talk to you.
Thanks for watching Middays with Marks. Like and subscribe right here. If you like and subscribe, you probably are loving what you're watching. There's more of it right here. Check it out.